Good morning and welcome to Little by Little, a short time in God's Word. Turn with me to Acts chapter 20. After the uproar was over, Paul sent for the disciples, encouraged them, and after saying farewell, departed to go to Macedonia. And when he had passed through those areas and offered them many words of encouragement, he came to Greece and stayed 3 months. The Jews plotted against him when he was about to set sail for Syria, and so he decided to go back through Macedonia. He was accompanied by Sopater, son of Pyrrhus, from Berea, Aristarchus, and Secundus from Thessalonica, Gaius from Derbe, Timothy, and Tychus, and Trophimus from the province of Asia. These men went on ahead and waited for us in Troas, but we sailed away from Philippi after the festival of unleavened bread. In 5 days we reached them at Troas, where we spent 7 days. On the first day of the week we assembled to break bread. Paul spoke to them, and since he was about to depart the next day, he kept on talking until midnight. There were many lamps in the room upstairs where we were assembled, and a young man named Eutychus was sitting on a windowsill and sank into a deep sleep as Paul kept on talking. When he was overcome by sleep, he fell down from the 3rd story and was picked up dead. But Paul went down, bent over him, embraced him, and said, "Don't be alarmed, because he's alive." After going upstairs, breaking up bread, and eating, Paul took a long time until dawn. Then he left. And they brought the boy home alive and were greatly comforted. All right, well, the journey continues. And when you watch and you listen to these stories and you see Paul on the move from one place to another, God just continues to lead him, and he's got this team with him, and away they go, and they end up in Troas. And it says that on the first day of the week they assembled. So on Sunday they assembled to eat together, and Paul begins to speak to them because they were leaving the next day. And so he speaks all the way into midnight, and people got tired. One guy in particular, Eutychus, got tired and was in such a deep sleep that as he's sitting by the window, he fell out the window and fell down dead. And yet, probably not a great way to go. You were bored to death, literally. And so Paul picks him up, and no, he's still alive. And then he keeps speaking all the way through the night. They're like, what are we supposed to take from this? To be honest, I don't know. Right? It's not, again, prescriptive. What it does is give us insight into how closely Paul was walking with Jesus. Right? Because each step along the way, Luke, the author, that's the we, when he talks about we stayed, is writing and talking about the stops that they made, the places they went, and at various times how the Spirit would enable them or prohibit them. And so everything's God ordained and God at work in and through Paul and his life. And so this is another one of those times where God saw fit to include Eutychus in his plan. And so he somehow allows for him to fall into deep sleep, allows for him to fall out the window, and then allows Paul to say, no, he's not dead. He's alive. They're like, what? So is there a prescription there? No, there's not a prescription. When I read stuff like this, especially here in Acts and about Paul, it makes me think, what's the next step? It might not be another country, it might not be on a boat or a plane, it might simply be just the next step today, and being led by the Spirit, asking God each day, what do you have for me today? What's the next step? What am I supposed to be doing now? And being open to that. And just watching and seeing God work and move in your life is a beautiful thing. And we can look back at that in Acts and go, yeah, that was Paul, but that's impossible. Maybe, but it could be just that he's providing for us a life led by the Spirit, just like we're supposed to lead. Imagine the adventures. Imagine what God could do with another life committed, another life surrendered. God's that big. The gospel is that powerful. Why not? Watch and see what God might do. Until next time, on Little by Little.